Big 12 SEC Challenge announced today, and it's always a cool thing in the middle of the conference season. But here are the top 5 matchups in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. Number 5, this is a battle of new coaches in Florida versus Kansas State. And it'll be interesting to see because both these teams, you know, it's college basketball. Every team's kind of created out of the portal now, but these two teams really will be almost fully created out of the portal. And I'm curious to see where they are at this point in the season on January 28th. If the new coaches have made, of course we know Jerome Tang really well, have made enough inroads where this one is a game that could be played in the NCAA tournament or the NIT at that point, hopefully for either of them at least. That would be what it is. Well, not for Florida. Who cares about them? But but we'll see. This is why I think this was the kind of interesting one is two new coaches against
Never knew you didn't like the Gators.
You know, I swear I feel like Paul, like somebody like Ed McMahon style walk up and say, we'll give you $5 million. All you have to do is not say something bad about Florida, and you wouldn't be able to do it, would you?
For how long?
That's what I see, like for like a year. For like a year.
$5 million.
For like a year. No, look, I'll tell you right now, if I needed a kidney and the only match was Tim Tebow, that'd be it. I'm not having Tim Tebow's kidney.
See, there you go.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to let that sanctimonious left-handed SOB stand over me and say, hey, I gave you a kidney.
God.
As a southpaw,
yes.
I take offense to that.
Yes.
I take offense to that.
Yeah. I just threw the left-handed thing in there just to describe.
If you needed a kidney, and he was the only match.
Not a chance.
Yes, you would.
Goodbye. I've lived a long enough life. There is no way I want anything of him involved with
Not
me.
only would he give you the kidney, and you would accept it, he would kiss you on your forehead.
And he'd give you a little piece of his heart,
I'm telling you right now, there is no way I would do it. I would die on that hill, literally.
And then take you to a Rascal Flatts concert.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll take if that's what I need. Give it to me from Tebow. I would take that gladly in return. But as far as this game goes, I'm excited for Jerome Tang. I think it's going to be really cool to see what he does with that K-State program. It already seems like he's drummed up a good bit of excitement. And you know, like you said, it's hard to kind of even know what's what right now because of all the transfer portal. You know, like who's where and what, and still trying to wrap our heads around that. But he's been very active, and should be really interesting to see these two clash next year.
Yeah, number 4, Texas Tech versus LSU. Tech, a team that's dominating the portal. LSU, a team that will be literally 100% created out of the portal. With Matt McMahon's new staff as he comes in from Murray State. I actually think that LSU probably will be pretty good right away because he's already brought in some pretty good guys. And Tech is going to be good again. This is an interesting clash of styles with that Murray State style coming to LSU. And, of course, Mark Adams and his just unrelenting defensive pace that he keeps Tech on.
Yeah, he's done a great job there. He really has. To not only sustain it, but then to take it to another level. Of course, they had a Final Four appearance with Beard, and who's now at Texas. But Mark Adams, the LSU is going to be intriguing. They are basically a brand new roster because of what happened with all the defections and stuff. But
yeah, I mean they're
all 11 scholarship
put
players
them next to each other and just mark through the similarities. They're not going to be many marks because it's basically night and day, but. This will be very interesting just because I think there's the unknown of what LSU is going to be and then the known of what we know with Tech, and they're going to be very good. Like, to what extent, though? Are they national championship good? They haven't been just yet. They've been good enough to get there but not win it. Are they going to be Final Four good? Are they more Sweet 16 good? Like, I don't know exactly because their roster's been so in flux as well, even though there's a couple guys that, are familiar. But, this should just be interesting for a lot of this, just the unknowns.
Number 3, Texas versus Tennessee. Of course, Rick Barnes, once again, against his old employer. And these two teams should both be pretty darn good again next year with Chris Beard at Texas. I'm not sure if these are teams that are going to win the conference. I think they're probably a tier below that. Texas is going to be interesting or contend for that, especially by January 28th, they'll still be in the mix there. But I think they'll be in the mix, but not necessarily the guys who are going to win it, so it'll be a good game.
Yeah, they had a really nice emotional reunion last year, earlier this year, and they welcomed Rick Barnes back, and it was kind of like what we heard with Steve Smith and Mitch Thompson. Same thing with Texas and Rick Barnes. Texas won the game. Tennessee, good, really good. That's one that will always, I would think. Now it'll be interesting once, of course, they enter the Big 12, go to the SEC. That one's out.
Yeah.
and they play in the conference, and so will be interesting once the Big 12 teams leave. When they do an SEC Big 12 challenge, who will play Texas and Oklahoma?
Yeah, I'm sure there will be some lining up because, I mean, plenty of them have beaten those two.
Yeah.
And, I mean, vice versa. But, like, I don't think Baylor's scared of OU or Texas basketball. I know they're not. I know Kansas isn't. I mean, I know Tech isn't. I know Iowa State isn't. Nope. So they'll probably be like, yeah, can we be first to get them right now?
Yeah,
but
not insinuating that at all, but I'm glad you brought that up. It's because it will be interesting who they would play. It's going to have to be somebody that they've known a while, because they've all been in the Big 12.
Well, I mean, it might be funny unless it's like
it could be Cincinnati
Texas and Cincinnati. Or, yeah.
Well, it would be great if it was Houston.
Yeah. So, all right, number 2, Kansas versus Kentucky. Look, this
automatic.
Is the tie. I do wish they would not play this game so often in the Big 12 SEC Challenge, just so that some of the other schools got to play Kentucky. Look, this is. These are two leagues now that are beyond the one team being good. So the classic, I know these are the classic brands of this, but I don't think we're at a point where we need to have Kansas and Kentucky all the time, although this will be a really good game between two really good teams next season.
Wasn't last year.
It wasn't, but I think it should be.
God, I think Kentucky beat the hell out of them,
they did.
Yeah. So I think this should be really good. I think Kansas will be loaded for bear and really mad. Of course, Kentucky beat the hell out of them, and Kansas still won
Kansas won the title, so who cares?
So who cares what happened then? I mean, I say who cares. I know one person who does, but she cares about every loss. But it ultimately didn't matter in the long run. But I'm curious to see, and it was in Allen Fieldhouse too, which was
last time that Baylor played Kentucky was that freeze.
Yeah,
remember
we were trying to go do our show up there.
Arlington. Baylor's won the last 2 meetings with Kentucky in 12 and 13, and lost in the final or Elite 8 in Atlanta, but. Yeah, I'd like to see them be able to play that. I'm sure other teams would like to play those teams. Yeah.
And number 1, this game is, I think, we'll have to look at the whole college basketball schedule when it's out. But this is going to be Baylor plays Gonzaga and Arkansas in non-conference next year. This will be one of the best games in the non-conference schedule, maybe in all of college basketball next year as far as matchups. Arkansas not only dominating the transfer portal, but dominating recruiting right now. Eric Musselman has got it really, really going on there. Again, back-to-back Elite Eights for the Hogs. And, of course, Baylor, a national championship a couple years ago. So this will, in a doozy of team coming in themselves, I think it's been a great game.
I've seen a lot of different basketball columnists, writers, whatever, analysts, and they really don't have Baylor much. Not too many of them have them highly ranked. Of course, Arkansas is very highly ranked. They've got it loaded, and Baylor will be. They'll be fine. 81-72 in Indianapolis, which was one of the better games that Baylor had, the tighter games Baylor played in the tournament up in Indianapolis on their way to the national title. Up by 8 at halftime and won by 9, 81-72. And all the Hogs fans were calling the Hogs well before the game, who were allowed in at the time before that game began.
I was just looking at Kansas, Kentucky. They've met half the time. This thing's been going on this will be the 10th year, I believe, coming up. And they have met, I think, 4 of the 9 times. So Kansas has played West Virginia. Kentucky has played West Virginia. They played Baylor early on, as you mentioned. I think they played Tech as well. But, yeah, it's been half the time it's been Kansas, Kentucky.
And I get it, but, like, the Big 12 is one of the best basketball conferences. It's not the best basketball conference. And the SEC is no slouch either. Mm-hmm. So I get Kansas, Kentucky is the top brand in each league against each other, and it's great for TV. But – I feel about that game in the Big 12 SEC Challenge kind of how I felt about the last 100 years of the Cowboys and Giants opening up against each other, and they finally stopped, that Ferris wheel.
That was a TV exec's choice, not a fan's choice necessarily. Yeah, so it has happened regularly, but this game's only going to happen once, and it might happen in the tournament. But like the Cowboys and Giants, they're going to play twice. Why do we have to have it in the first game? Yeah, Well, Baylor, Arkansas will be awesome, like you guys said, and. Hey, the SEC's had the number the last couple of years. They've won this thing despite all the talk about the Big 12 being the best basketball conference or what have you. So Big 12 kind of needs to break a little streak of their own. But, yeah, Baylor, Arkansas will be fantastic, as will a lot of these others.
By the way, LSU's got a connection to my